Hey, my name is Kara. I'm an ultrasound tech, and let's talk today about how I found out about my surprise second pregnancy, as well as how many times I ended up scanning myself during either of my two pregnancies. So, with my second pregnancy, she was a surprise pregnancy. It was not something that my husband and I planned out, unlike our first pregnancy. And I remember being at work one day and thinking that my scrubs fit a little bit tight, and then trying to think when the last time I had my period was. And I remember thinking, oh, actually, it's been a little while. I should probably actually go check just for fun. I'm going to go into my room. I'm just going to put the camera down. I'm just going to check myself, see if there's anything in the uterus. And I mean, I was not expecting at all to see anything in the uterus. I was just thinking, well, just in case on the off chance that it might be something, I'm going to go ahead and look. So I go into my room, I put the camera down, and lo and behold, there is a gestational sac and a yolk sac. I remember there was no baby seen yet, there was no fetal pull. But at that moment, I was like, oh crap, okay, so this is why I have not had my period in a little while, and also why my scrubs have been fitting a little bit tight. And at that time, I wasn't really tracking my period or my cycles. And also at that time, we were using birth control as well. So it was definitely a surprise to say the least. And I vividly remember that I found out in the morning. So basically, I found out obviously when the workday started, which, of course, in hindsight, it was such a mistake for me to go look early in the morning when I still had the whole workday to go through before I could go home and tell my husband about it. But again, I was not expecting to see anything on the screen. It was just kind of like a, oh, well, just in case, even though I'm sure I'm not pregnant, I'm going to go ahead and look. So if I had any more of a suspicion that I actually was pregnant, I totally would have waited until the end of the day to go ahead and look. But no, instead, I went and looked pretty early on in the day, and then I had to just work that whole day with this feeling of like, oh my goodness, and panic because again, this was a surprise pregnancy and we totally did not plan it out. In the end, our kids are about 6 months apart, so basically just a bit over 2 years apart. So they're not really close in age. There's actually a pretty good gap between them. And now I think it's a really good thing that they have a little over 2 years between them. But at the time, again, because it was such a surprise, I seriously felt like I was in such a panic and I totally did not know what to do. So, anyways, that's a story about how I found out I was pregnant with our second child. And I also remember telling my husband when I got home from work, and he was like, are you sure? Like, did you take a pregnancy test? I'm like, I do not need to take a pregnancy test. I saw with my own two eyes on the screen that I am very early pregnant, like, 5-ish weeks along. So I do not need to go ahead and waste money on a pregnancy test. But, anyways, overall, though, throughout both of my pregnancies, I really didn't actually scan myself very much at all. I know I hear some techs over, especially on TikTok and whatnot. I see some videos of some ultrasound techs basically saying that is like a perk of the job, as in being able to go and look yourself at baby when you are pregnant and checking up on baby whenever you want. And I guess hypothetically, that is a perk of the job. But maybe because my pregnancies were already high risk with both of them having thickened nuchals, that I really didn't want to chance it with exposing babies to more ultrasound. And even if I didn't have those increased nuchals, I probably still wouldn't have scanned more than what was medically necessary because, again, ultrasound does heat up the tissues to some degree. So I really just didn't want to take that risk. Even though if I was just taking a quick look at baby here and there, it probably would have been fine. But in the end, I actually didn't really deviate much from what was ordered medically from my doctor. And also, I didn't want to find out gender, as in my husband, I did not want to find out gender with either of the pregnancies. So I also didn't want to go ahead and take a look myself and then accidentally have, like, baby's parts on the screen there and then ruining it for myself as well as my husband. So that is kind of the reason why I didn't really go ahead and take a look. Not only did we not want to go ahead and find out gender, but also I know that there is a increased risk of fetal tissue being heated up if it is going to be scanned too much with ultrasound. And again, probably with the amount that I would have looked, it would have been fine, but I just didn't really want to take that risk. So that was kind of like the biggest thing, is just to decrease that exposure to ultrasound as much as possible. So in the end, I think I maybe took a look at baby like one or two times. One of the times being in that second pregnancy when I looked that first time to see that there was a surprise pregnancy looking at me on the screen. But I will say though, it was really nice being able to get one of my scans done at the clinic that I work at because the girls ended up printing me off a few extra pictures of baby. So that was really nice just to obviously have more pictures than what they gave me at the high risk clinic where I got most of my scans done for both my pregnancies, where they did not print off pictures and essentially you could just get a screenshot, as in like you took out your phone and you took a picture of the ultrasound screen if you wanted a picture of baby, which we all know that quality isn't good. And of course, I definitely get it at the high risk center that I went to at the hospital, why they didn't really print out pictures or they didn't really text pictures, not like what we do at the clinic that I work at, which is a private clinic. But either way, it obviously didn't really allow a whole lot of room for like some nice ultrasound pictures of either of my pregnancies. So I was really thankful that I was able to get, I think, two scans with my first and then one scan with my second when they're a little bit later on at the clinic that I worked at, so I could get some nicer pictures of the pregnancies. So definitely thankful for that. But in the end, hopefully you guys enjoyed this fun little story. Now it seems fun, I guess, or like funny, anyways, in hindsight, when I think about how I definitely did not expect that we were pregnant when I went and looked at myself with ultrasound. And I mean, mind you, I was having some like irregular periods, even though I was on birth control before that. So I have looked like a few times just like as a quick double check if I was late. So again, I was not expecting it when we actually were pregnant with our second child to see that on the screen and to find out that way. And although it is definitely a hypothetical perk of the job to be able to look at your baby whenever you want if you are an ultrasound tech, I just chose not to minimize the risk to ultrasound, as well as the fact that we didn't want to find out gender either. So hopefully this video has been interesting for you. And like always, if you guys enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I also make videos on TikTok, so check me out there if you want more of a shorter format video.